Welcome back to Building Whiteburg City, the series where I'm building one of the biggest and most detailed cities here in Minecraft. Today I'll be building some high-rise apartments to fit within the Queen Anne's Corner section of my world, which is the main city centre. So following on from building the Ellis Tower and Duke Square last time, we are now working our way around this area with the Queen Anne's mansions being built off to the side of Duke Square, and a second high-rise building that I will be making up on the spot as we go through. So, Queen Anne's mansions were actually a real group of buildings in London from around about the middle of the 1800s. They actually were the first high-rise buildings in the city. It was a carbuncle, a mess of buildings. It kind of started out as a townhouse and then expanded to something that had 12 floors, built across a facade of over 36 windows. It kind of just looks a mess, but I feel that within the city centre here, this really high density building just fits the bill very, very well. It also in real life had a curve to it, a very subtle sort of convex shape, which is actually how this road's set up anyway. So I kind of thought, do you know what? This is definitely an ideal building to put here. It will be lost amongst the sort of higher buildings and the more detailed ones, as it is just a selection of, bricks and dirt. I also want to have a go at rearranging the town sort of layout here. So we're going to jump back into game, and I'm going to talk you through what I went through and did there. So, the facade is all done, and it's looking good. I know it's an absolute mess. A carbuncle is what I want to describe it as, but it's getting there. It's actually looking like the real life version of it now. It's also stupidly tall and stupidly long, and it just kind of really sweeps up this road very well. Before I got onto the backs, before I wanted to carry on with the rest of this mess around here, I wanted to come back out to the front and have a redesign of the road layout through here. This has taken up quite a bit of time, and also this area here has been redesigned. Actually, I'll show you. All of the areas in cyan and orange have been redesigned during this process, and yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile because a lot of this area hasn't really seen any design or planning since, well, a long old time ago actually. Obviously the rest of the city's in, you would have seen the master planning video. This area was always kind of just left until the end. And I've gone through and redone some of the massing as well, so I think I'm actually quite happy with this now. It's going to be some insane sightlines through there and down here, and what you're seeing now is all of the cyan, that's going to be the road, all of the orange and the pink is the pavement, and then this green area through here is going to be like just a green space with some trees up through it. So it's going to take out a lot of harshness from all of this through here. And that's the same down this side here. So we'll get on to building this at some point. These two buildings I think we'll do in a video coming up soon. They're going to hold this view very well. Now I've taken a long time trying to figure out what I wanted to do with this area because I never was happy with it. So yeah, I think before we jump onto the backs, I'm at this point now where we can actually almost finish an entire run of this side of the road. So while this is an episode on building high-rises, I think we should stick on with that and carry on with building high-rises and develop a building for this plot here. And I've got some ideas on what I want to do with that, so let's carry on building. Well, I wanted to go for a sort of neo-baroque tower, very similar to what we've done with the Ellis building. Working on a few designs based on a building that I found in Finsbury Circus, I kind of mocked up an idea in my head of what a skyscraper will look like. Again, you can see the Ellis building in the background, and we've got, heavy details at the top, heavy details at the bottom, and the section in between is very plain. Now this is sort of the school of skyscraper building from New York during the time, and while obviously I try and build stuff here in the British styles, I think in my head I've always had the idea that Whiteburg City is a amalgamation of sort of New York styles as well as London, and you'll see a bit more of that as we go through the series. So I'm going to angle this building to try and fit it in as a sort of a wedge between Queen Anne's mansions and the Whiteburg Times building there on the corner, which again is actually a building from New York, so it all kind of makes sense in the end. Anyway, I'm finishing off the back on this, but I need to jump back into game just to get a look at the sightlines and make up my mind on some bits. So I just wanted to pause for a second on building and just come stand here and have a look up this road. That really did turn out better than I thought it would do. The concaved shape of this road, just chef's kiss, really adds extra detail that I was not expecting. So we've got obviously the facade here of Queen Anne's mansions as it leads through into Darwell House. Now I'm shocked I finally did it. I'm lost for words, to be honest. But now you've got all of these lovely views. Like, I like that. You're going to look down that road there from being in the park here somewhere. You know, if you just come across the road somehow, because I forget how big this junction is, you can stand here, you can start walking through the park. You can see the glimpse of those mansard, big old sort of, well, big roofs. I don't know if they are in our mansard at that point. They're just Victorian big pointed roofs. And you're going to get greeted with that wall of 12 stories of flats. Oh, the skyline's really... I've just realised every large... I think that is actually the second tallest building, and let's go with fourth tallest. It's actually crazy. This skyline's so coming together, and looking through the park as well. But anyway, that's kind of the view I wanted, and it wasn't just that. It was kind of... There was always a view from this road here down by the Grand Exchange, the Royal Exchange, where you could see the roof of the Whiteburg Times main headquarters. Now we've got Darwell House next to it, which is just... Anyway, it's not like it's even finished yet. We've got to get on with the rest of the roof and the back of both of the buildings. That's something I've been putting off. But I thought I'd just like jump back in and go, that's looking good. But it is. This skyline's really starting to come together. Just think about it when the other buildings are in here as well. Oh, look at that. Just look at that view. You're going to stand here. You just walked in from the train station. Let's say you just come out of Lyndhurst Road Station. And you've crossed the road. And you're just walking down there. And you're greeted with that. Sweeping passage. Tall, very tall roof. And then as you keep walking down, the Ellis building comes into view. As does the Bank of Whiteburg. This, ladies and gentlemen, it's what it's all about. Anyway, should we carry on building? Right, so onto the backs of these buildings now, and I kind of didn't really have that clear of an image of what I want to do back here. So what I was trying to do was integrate the back of Queen Anne's mansions as it was from the real world pictures into what I've got planned with this square of townhouses around the back here. And that led to me doing a few little strange design changes by adding a couple of extra buildings here, an angled wall and such. My next problem was I wasn't quite happy with the wall on this side of Darwell House, so I decided to extend it and make it into an actual tower itself, and in doing so I think I've brought about such more, I don't know, grandeur about this building. It's now got an extra focal point and this really odd little back section, which I think works very well in giving this building a bit of character. Now onto the roofs and the backs of the rest of Queen Anne's mansions. Again, I kind of looked at real world pictures for this. It was very sparse, any information on it. I was using some sort of aerial images that kind of showed me a little bit about what was going on, so I knew there were these bay windows at the back along with a few extra bits. But because I wasn't building it exactly as it is in real life, I kind of went ahead and made a lot of choices, including adding this tower with the little observation area on top there. Well, that is the two buildings done. The only thing left to do now was go across and add in some cars, a bit of decoration along the side, and I think it's time for us to jump in and have a little showcase of what actually has been built in this episode. And there we have it. The first two high-rise apartments here in Whiteburg City. And not just that, of course, Darwell Road Avenue through the middle of town has been completed as well. I'm not too keen on these larger ones in the centre, street lamp wise. I probably need to come through and have a little think about some of the clutter along here, but still, what I am happy about is how Queen Anne's mansions turned out. Even though it's such a carbuncle of a building, I think it works so well. Coming down into the park, look, you can see the way it drops off down to, well, from 12 stories down to just 5? 5, yeah. Still, there's nothing in comparison to the height of the Ellis building next door, but still, it kind of helps bring your eye down as it leads through there into the bank at the end of Bank Street. Now, Darwell House itself, the very large and very rich, very expensive properties there behind Queen Anne's mansions, is, I think that's come out so well for a made-up building. It's kind of taken the skyline to a different level. The way that when you come up from the city centre this way, let's say you've got out the train station there, and you're greeted straight away with that beautiful double sort of sky, double point there, the flag from the Whiteburg Times building behind, and then you've got this balancing out the view below. It's coming together, this place, so much more than I ever thought it would do, and the high-rise apartments were always going to be a key part to bring in some much-needed density to this place, because the entire city is kind of not very dense at all. There it is over there, waiting for more buildings. So, yes, I think the story goes that this place was demolished only in the 60s, so it's quite nice to have it, returned. This one, as I said, is a made-up building based on something from Finsbury Park, Finsbury Circus. But I like how it's turned out. I think it works well, and we've got a little bus stop down here out the front, Darwell Street, and that's waiting for people to come up. I wasn't sure. Oh no, I didn't make it in the end. I did think, had I made these roads like dual carriageway, but no, I didn't, which is good. Now this road will lead straight down there to the music hall at the end, and then we'll have a couple more high rises along the side here, just really finishing this place off. Now, the reason I'm not going behind me very much is because I'm filming this after I had actually finished the next part of the building, which is on the map there. You can see a church, and we're not going to turn around to it just yet because that's the feature piece of the next episode. Still, let's have a look around the backs of these, because I like how the backs of these buildings sort of turned out. So, well, before we do that, you can see we've got the start of this street up here into what is this? Fitzroy Square. So we got more buildings that will come up through here. So that's why I've left these sort of empty for now. But still, we've got, this little place here, this little gatehouse, as I would say, because it allows people to drive into this little courtyard here. We've got a little townhouse here, just kind of finishing off this corner. But then we do have the extravagance of the windows on the back of Queen Anne's mansions. Now, I made this up because I had to rationalise it, because the real life one is just an absolute mess. So I thought, do you know what, let's just go with a design that kind of works, looks good, and fits. Otherwise we'll be here forever. There are some real sightlines in this city that I'm just, like this, and that. And this, the way this works as a corner, let's just do the old P time around this side. Oh, look at that. The way the sun catches off of these bits. Now, yes, I've kind of done like a New York stepping in section here, just because I wanted to break it up a little bit so it didn't look like an absolute, slab of white there. But I think it works really, really well. The way it does it frames the dome here, and when you're coming up Linter Street, you can see it. It's just sitting there. It's kind of tucked itself away, but that view there, again, we're not looking at the church. That view there just works so well, the way it bends itself round. I am honestly so excited to see where the rest of the city goes. Now I've got a couple of bits in, but this road just works. It flows so much better than it used to, and it gives us a better shape to build some stuff in here. The Ellis building, obviously episode 1, still sits here very nicely, and having finished this replanning as well, this road, as I think I mentioned before, now this carriageway, the one you would be driving up, because I've made this one way now, would see you directly looking at the Ellis building, which, yeah, that's perfect. That's what we want. So this doesn't block the view, this complements the view. And yeah, look at that. It's come through, and I'm so happy with it. Every time I look at this area now, I get inspired to see what else I can do. And I hope that has inspired you guys. So until next time, remember, get inspired, get building. And I'll see you for another one of these building Whiteburg cities very soon.